Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to today's live session. I'm very excited for the conversation that we're going to have today because you're finally going to be able to see the one missing piece in your actions, the one missing piece that's been holding you back. And as you see that and as you grow through that, you're going to get to your goals so much faster. So, I want to begin today by sharing a fun little anecdote with you, which I've experienced quite a lot of times. So I'm somebody who absolutely loves coffee and I love hot chocolate. I love just any drink with milk that has something sweet, something with the flavor of coffee and chocolate in it. And I am somebody who'll experiment a lot. So on the days when I'm not really in the mood to experiment, I have my go-to recipe where I have a certain amount of coffee, add a certain amount of sugar, whip it up into a cream, and then have that wonderful coffee with hot milk. But there are days where I feel like experimenting and where I feel that, you know what, I want to try something different. So one time, here's what I did. I took coffee, I took a bit of cocoa powder that was unsweetened, so it was very bitter, and then I added quite a bit of sugar to it so that I could have a wonderful drink. Now I mixed that all up, and then I made the one mistake you should never make if you're trying to make good coffee with cocoa powder in it. And the mistake I made was pouring cold milk straight into that mixture. Guess what happened? Instantly, all of it lumped up. And I was trying to mix it up and stir it, and nothing was happening. And I had to do a lot of stirring. I had to even get out that hand whip of mine, and I was just trying to whip it up, trying to get the whole thing out. And that made me realize something very, very important. In our lives, right? The way we look at success, the way we look at achieving things is very similar to the process of making coffee, and that too with cocoa powder added in it, right? A lot of times we can have all the right ingredients. We can have the coffee, we can have the sugar, we can have the cocoa powder, we can even have the milk. But what a lot of us do is, right, we take all the ingredients, we put them together, and we stop. We're thinking, I have everything. Now I'm going to let the universe do the work. But hey, that's not how you get coffee, especially if the milk is cold. You've got to put in the effort to stir it up. Otherwise, it will be a very bitter experience. It's not going to mix on its own. With hot milk as well, if you've observed, it melts the coffee, it melts the sugar, but if you don't stir it with your hands, you're not going to get the uniform texture. You're not going to get that creamy taste that you're looking for. So, if you think about it, the process of making coffee is pretty simple and it's pretty easy as well. But without that last action of stirring and mixing that happens from your end, even if all the ingredients are right, then you don't get the result. See, you can manifest anything you want. You can manifest everything. As long as it's reasonable, as long as you're not manifesting, I can grow wings and I can fly, that's not logical. But all the things we've been known to achieve, and we've also been known not to achieve, but we know we can do it, all of that you can manifest. You can align your energy with the universe to get through the right doors, to get to the right opportunities, to have all the right ingredients for success lined up for you. But if you are not stirring it enough, if you are not taking enough action, if you are not putting in enough force, even with all the right ingredients, you cannot succeed. And that's the power of action that so many of us underestimate. Yes, getting to success is effortless. Yes, getting to the goals you want is pretty easy. But without the efforts required to turn that ingredients mixture into the outcome that you want, you're going to get something that's slightly less than what you expected. You're going to get this close to success. You're going to have everything lined up to the dot. But because your actions are lacking, you know what's going to happen? At the last moment, something's going to go off and you're not going to realize why it happened. And that's where you'll get two different kinds of people in life, okay? The first kind of people are who always seem to get a lucky break. Like you look at their life and you're thinking, hey, what are you doing? How are you getting all of this? Like any door you walk into, you're succeeding. Any place you walk into, you're doing better. How is all of that happening? And then there are the people who seem to have the most privilege, who seem to have all the resources lined up for them, and yet On something simple, on something small, they'll mess up. They'll have a problem, and before they can even recognize it, before they can even see that they were this close to success, they fail and they fall and they falter. Now, which category do you belong into? I hope you belong into the first one, but even if you belong to the second one, don't worry. The antidote to your problem is simple: take more action, stir it more often, do it more. Like, I love this mantra, I love this quote. I don't know who it is from, but it's a very powerful one. Do so much work, it is unreasonable for the results to not show up. I love that philosophy. Like, yes, all the ingredients are going to line up, all the opportunities are going to line up for you from manifestation, but when you do so much work with those ingredients to create the result, then success is not just a possibility. Success becomes a guarantee. No, and who doesn't want guarantee, right? I want a guarantee. So do you. So if you want that guarantee on your efforts, and if you want to know, yes, everything I'm doing is going to create the outcome that I want, then this is the process to follow. Take more action. Now, I know it sounds good as a philosophy. How do we implement this? Simple. Anything that you're doing, ask yourself honestly: am I putting in enough efforts, or am I just kind of stepping back? Am I taking the right actions, or am I holding myself back? And some of you may find this reflection difficult, some of you may find it easy. The ones who will find it easy, they have the habit of being honest with themselves. The ones who are going to find it difficult, and the ones who are going to come up with, but this, then that, and this happens, so how can I do it if this happened, and all those stories. I'm sorry, but you're not in the habit of being honest with yourself. Get into that habit. That's one of the first actions you can take to guarantee success, because when you do, right, you start to see the result, you start to see the difference, that the way you're showing up, the energy you're coming up with, the person you are becoming is completely different. And for you to tap into the power of action, you have to accept and acknowledge the fact that, yes, I'm not stirring it enough, I'm not putting in the work to mix up the ingredients of success to get to the result that I want. And here's the thing, okay? Why most people quit is because they stir it once, no result, they quit. Now, you tell me, if you've ever made any drink, if you've made coffee, if you've made hot chocolate, anything that you love, just stirring it once, does that do the work? Of course not. The second stir, also not. The third stir, again not. The fourth, not. Fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth. You don't even know how many times you stir to get to the kind of consistency that you want. Now, over there, it's easy because the time frame for the stirring and the result to show up is very small, like 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and anybody can handle that. Now, take it to your size of your life goals. And over there, the timeline for the results of your stirring today to show up is 5 years and 10 years. And that's where you start to see people quit. And it's so disheartening because they're like so close to the outcome, right? And then they're like, I don't know, nothing's working. What can I do? Now, that's the principle you don't want to follow. That's the thinking you don't want to have. You want to be the person who can succeed. You want to be the person who can shine, who can grow. And for that, it's simple: take more action, show up with more effort, be honest with yourself, the kind of person that you're being, of the kind of actions that you're taking. And the better you can do that, the more you will get your results. So that's the lesson for today that I want you to take home. And as you're taking it home, let's take a moment to reflect. What's that one area of life where you've been holding yourself back? And you know it. And I know it too. There is definitely that one area. And how can you stir it more often? How can you put in more efforts? How can you have a little bit more patience to see the results of that stirring show up for you in your life? If you can see that, and if you can take those actions, and if you can do that, I'm telling you, this one video and this one principle is enough to change the trajectory of your life. This is the principle that changed mine. This is the principle that showed me I'm not taking enough action to grow my business. And when I did, the results that followed were incredible, beyond my wildest dreams, and now I'm even scaling it further. So I'm living proof this works. Stir the pot more often, do more work, take more action. That's literally the only ingredient missing. Everything else is there. But if this is missing, nothing will ever happen. So the choice is yours. I would love if you can declare it in the chat window and say, yes, I commit to this. I am going to make this happen. And I know you will once you publicly commit to it. So I look forward to seeing your commitments, and I'll see you once again tomorrow at the same time, that is 8:30 p.m. IST. Bye. Talk to you soon.